So I was meant to do something completely different today, but a number of people asked me to check out the latest Monster Hunter movie trailer instead. So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and check that out. Let's go ahead and get to it. Hey everyone, Pinoy X here once again, back with another Monster Hunter video, and once again, we are going to be taking a look at the Monster Hunter movie because today, we are taking a look at the two latest trailers revealed for the Monster Hunter movie. Now before I go ahead and get started on this, if you want to go ahead and check out the latest trailers for the Monster Hunter movie for yourself, I've gone ahead and put a link in the description below for both of these trailers so you can go ahead and check them out for yourself. Now in this video, we're not just going to be doing a comparison between the movie and the video games and see what the movie gets right here. I am going to be talking about my personal thoughts and opinions regarding the movie as of right now based on the two latest trailers. So I am going to be going through not just a direct comparison between the video games and the movie. I am going to be sharing what could be improved upon, what I think the movie does right, what it does wrong, so on and so forth, in regards to the Monster Hunter series based on the movie trailers. So let's go ahead and check them both out. So first up, let's take a look at the Chinese trailer for the Monster Hunter movie because there was a lot of fascinating information regarding the lore of the series just based on this trailer alone. Right off the bat though, I gotta say, the soundtrack choice was a little bit off-putting. I wanted to listen more to some of the key things that they were talking about regarding the lore of the Monster Hunter series, but the soundtrack was really off-putting, so I was really off-put by that soundtrack. But aside from that, the trailer was actually pretty good in representing Monster Hunter based on its lore. So what kind of lore are we looking into? Well, the first one is Ancient Civilization lore. They spoke about how ancient civilization had this really advanced technology and they utilized monsters as a means of defending it. This is not taken from mainline games as far as I'm aware because mainline games don't really talk about how the ancient civilization used monsters as a means of defending their technology. This was mostly represented in Monster Hunter Frontier, where we have the Sky Corridor, and in the Sky Corridor, we have ancient civilization technology actually being defended by monsters. This was part of Frontier content. So in my opinion, more than likely that part of the movie was taken from Monster Hunter Frontier rather than mainline games. So after all that talk with the ancient civilization, they start to showcase the monsters of the movie. The first one that they showcased was the Cephalos, which got whacked by Tony Jaa right here very quickly. It was very easy to miss. This is a Cephalos, a piscine wyvern that swims underneath the sand, and the larger version of these creatures are known as Cephadromes, so this one is the smaller variation. After that, they start talking about the Nursela and the Diablos and how they were gonna use Nursela's poison as a means of putting Diablos to sleep. Already they're exploring a little bit of lore for the monster in comparison to the Western trailer, really focusing on Monster Hunter in terms of monsters here, as well as the lore of the ancient civilization. As we get further into the trailer, eventually they showcase a full body shot of Gormagala, and the only real thing that really stood out for me with Gormagala is the ginormous chin. This thing has a very chunky chin in comparison to its iteration in the video games. So yeah, aside from that, I think Gormagala looks amazing in this movie. So chin adjustment aside, Gormagala well represented. Eventually at the end of the trailer, we get to see the Meowscular Chef. I think the Meowscular Chef could use a bit more muscle here because he looks scrawny in comparison to the video game version, but aside from that, I think the representation of the Meowscular Chef is actually pretty well done, especially when they did the whole animation of the Meowscular Chef cooking, and that is very reminiscent of that of the Monster Hunter World version, and I think they did a perfect job on that. Again though, Meowscular Chef could use a little bit of a bulk up in order to make it match that of the video game. Shifting from the Chinese trailer, let's now take a look at the Japanese trailer for the Monster Hunter movie. This one, I don't really have a lot of comparison to do with the video games, mostly because it's talking about the characters of the series which are based on Monster Hunter World. So if you're familiar with the characters of Monster Hunter World, then for the most part, that's all you're gonna be seeing with the Japanese trailer. Having said that though, in terms of the scope that it represents for the Monster Hunter series, I think the Japanese trailer is the best one out of all of them because it's trying to connect the movie to that of Monster Hunter, the video games. And what I mean by this is that they're representing it as if it was the video game. Utilizing Proof of a Hero as the soundtrack for the trailer was the perfect choice in my opinion. And not only that, at the very end of the trailer, we even get that moment where the field team leader is utilizing the barbecue spit, and you can hear the little tone that we get to hear whenever we use the barbecue spit, and Mila's character even says "so good," which is close to what we would get in the video games where it says "so tasty" after you get a well done steak.
So good.
So tasty!
So you can really see how the Japanese trailers is trying to connect the movie to that of the video game, unlike the other two trailers where it mostly just utilizes the monsters and the action in order to represent Monster Hunter but doesn't utilize any of the soundtrack in any way, shape or form. So for me, the Japanese trailer is the best one out of all of them. It has a mixture of the soundtrack, the action that we get, the monsters, and of course the characters. This is definitely how they should have represented the Monster Hunter movie to begin with, at least in my opinion. And that's pretty much it so far with regards to my personal thoughts and opinions from the trailer regarding the Monster Hunter movie, both the Chinese and the Japanese trailers. Personally, I think that this movie would do well if it does stay close to the Monster Hunter video games, kind of like what the Japanese trailers did, as opposed to trying to stray too far away from it. The Western trailer really caught people off guard, and a lot of people disliked it because in terms of representation for Monster Hunter, it didn't represent Monster Hunter in any way, shape or form. But with regards to the Chinese and the Japanese trailers, these two are much closer to home in terms of representing the Monster Hunter series, with the Chinese trailer mostly focusing on lore of the monsters and the ancient civilization, and of course the Japanese trailer focusing on trying to connect the movie to that of the actual video games. And I think this is how they should represent Monster Hunter as a whole if they are gonna continue with this movie. What do you think about the movie so far based on these trailers? Let us know in the comments below your personal thoughts and opinions on the Monster Hunter movie based on the Japanese and Chinese trailers for this movie as of right now. Now with all of that being said, if you enjoyed these videos, please consider leaving a like on the video itself and subscribing to the channel, as well as hitting that bell icon so you can go ahead and catch up on any future Monster Hunter content that I might be doing or any other games that I might be playing in future. Until then, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Onward and upward.